should make one of those for this movie, actually, like the snow globe with it's on the Blu-ray cover, actually.
Yeah, I am surprised Shout or Scream Factory didn't do that when they put it out.
They did the commissioned art for Cramp, which actually
Yeah.
isn't half bad, but I didn't order this from Scream, so I don't have like the movie poster. But
Oh.
they had reversible cover art
Oh,
on the
cool.
case, and so I
Mhm.
did flip that around.
Oh, that's cool. That's what they did with MST too.
They should continue doing stuff like that. But
I,
I wanted to display these because we're covering Krampus, everybody.
Krampus.
And I am Jeff, and this is Kevin, and you've already been clued in. We're talking Krampus. Um, so Kevin, is this a personal favorite of yours for Christmas, or how does it feel for you?
Oh gosh, dude. I mean, I missed this one in the theaters because it was well past the point in time where I was like, I hate going to the theater. Um, so I bought it like the day it came out,
Yeah.
and it's been a tradition, Christmas tradition, like ever since then. It's a rad flick.
Yeah, it is. I never saw this in the theaters. I only saw this on like I gotta say probably when the Blu-ray first came out a few years ago, because it took me a long time to get to Trick or Treat. It's the same director and writer and Michael Dougherty, who also did Godzilla 2, which is King of Monsters, Godzilla King of Monsters. He did the sequel, which I think is pretty good. But and when I got it on Blu-ray, I watched it and I absolutely loved it. And it's a yearly tradition. I can even get my wife to watch this a little bit, and she's not the biggest horror movie fan, but there's enough going on. She's like, I don't mind playing it in the background and popping in to watch a little bit here and there, but she's not much for the gore, so we still get a kick out of it. We just watched the naughty cut the other day, so that was fun to
Oh,
watch.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need to get that because I've only seen the theatrical release, which doesn't have the gore to it.
Well, it's
Not,
some of the deleted scenes from the original version spliced back into the movie, and just a few things are extended here and there, like you know, and 2 extra seconds of blood and gore. Ultimately adds up to like maybe 4 minutes total, but there's also like a scene or two that feel like they're switched around from where they are in the movie. I did not go
ah,
back through to watch the theatrical version, so I'm not entirely sure, but there was one scene I know for sure was completely brand new, and that was the scene between the two sisters where they were kind of comparing their lives and I love you or and you're jealous, and they have this little jealousy little talk, but it's really touching and I really liked it. So watching that in a completed version put back into the film was excellent. So you're not just going through the deleted scenes going, well, that would have been nice if it was in there. That would have been nice if it was in there. You actually watch the movie and it's like, that's better. That's how this movie should have been when it first came out. It's a testament to the freaking MPAA and how they were like, tr- you take out like maybe 1 or 2 seconds of gore. Like, really? Back from when this was made? It's like, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't.
I don't know why they criticized it so hard.
I have
Uh,
no clue.
I know one of the things that they kept having to do was cut out the sounds of the baby screaming. Uh,
So I get that a little bit, but I don't know. If you ever watched the documentary, like this film Not Yet Rated, which covers the MPAA and how they like to, how they're a little mysterious and they don't need to be in their inner workings a little bit. It's pretty funny. You can still find the DVD, but it's expensive. But
that's what I'm saying. They don't want you to see it.
yep, they don't want you to know.
No, the MPAA sucks just about as much as the FCC.
Welcome
Um,
to living in the horror community where this is the constant struggle.
yes, I mean not everything has to be torture horror like Eli
Torture
Roth.
porn. Yeah.
Yeah, um, this movie had suspense to it,
Oh,
and
yes, it
I'm
did.
I'm not surprised that the studio felt, and I'm not the MPAA, but probably just Universal, that character development, like that you were talking about, slows the film down. And I
I
get
disagree.
that. It does, but it doesn't. We talked about that with Terminator last week,
Right.
where the scene between Sarah and Kyle and T2 would have made more sense if they would have just, the whole movie would have been better.
Yeah.
But they have this generalized idea of how stupid the audience is and needs to have fucking flashy lights every so many seconds for it to sit in the audience.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. I mean, they want you to take from the feeder and look at the shiny shit. They don't want you to think and be entertained by a good story with complex characters, which,
Right.
for as silly as this movie was, has complex characters.
Well, yeah, everybody's got a story, and it's not like this in-depth exposition on all 12 characters. It's just enough nuggets for everything, and you get a little bit extra as you move along if you're paying attention. Even if you're not paying attention, you're still picking up on character interplay between everybody. So it feels like you're getting to know the family the way you're supposed to with the story, the way they set it up.
Yeah, and there's a lot more that could have been said about the relationship between Kirshner and Adam Scott,
Yeah.
going from the dipshit Republican to the ever staunch Democrat that's a Boy Scout, constantly butting heads because they have to eventually like seeing each other as dads trying to survive and keep their family together.
Well, yeah, there's even the scene where I'm sorry I'm missing the character names, but Kosh is it Kushner? Koshner?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where he even says like, you're not the weak dick that I thought you were. Like it's like, now we're in the middle of this war and you got a set of balls on you, bro. Like this is the guy I've been hoping to see for like years, and there it is in you. It is in you. And it's the other way around with Adam to him too. It's like, no, you give a damn about your family. You love your family and you're willing to do all this too. All right, grow up time. It's time to whoop ass.
Yes, and that's the thing about this movie is initially you want to say all of these characters are irredeemable, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not at all. They're none of them are decent people,
No,
but
that's the whole
they're
point
all
of the movie.
redeemable.
Yeah.
Yeah. They still find that Christmas spirit at the end, but they have to
Well, do
stick with
they?
that Christmas. They
Yeah.
did. They did. According to the comic tie-in, that's their purgatory.
Oh yeah.
And they're have to relive that Christmas Day over and over and over again until they get the spirit back within them. And
Yeah.
they could have said that in the movie and been okay rather than just have people speculate unless they read that book.
I kind of feel like they gave enough of an inclination of what was going on. They're trapped in their snow globe now. It felt like a bit of a Twilight Zone kind of style
Yeah.
movie kind of ending, and clearly that's some inspiration. And I think, Doherty nailed it with the ending. I love the ending. That's why I was saying, like, I'd love like that little snow globe. That'd be a great little trinket if they put that out. They haven't put much merch out for this one, but they put a lot out for like trick or treat. I hope over the years this gets a bigger audience and we can get more of that. But I would like to actually see that comic, so I might have to track that down so I can get that. But I do like the ending and how I feel like it tells you enough, but it also leaves you wanting more. I don't know, that kind of ending, and I'm like, I want to see the next family. I want to see other stories because clearly they're sprinkled all the way throughout the Krampus's cave, and that Krampus is fucking killer. Super great effects and prosthetics.
Well, that's because they mixed the CGI with the practical effects, and there was more practical effects than CGI.
Oh yeah.
And we all know how that works out. I mean, he was terrifying looking.
Right.
He was sculpted really well, and
Yeah.
they were really smart about showing him. Like you see Krampus at the beginning of the film, you see him all the way up through the third act, but you don't see his face until the third act.
Like what's
And,
right behind you is when you get a first good look at that scene.
yes, and this way, and his face when they finally show it is like a perverse human face of Santa Claus. Like
Demonically possessed Santa is what I thought about it the first time.
yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
like all
oh
stretched out and like long lizard tongue coming out of it.
Santa had a bad night.
Kind of,
He went
right?
on a bender is what I thought.
Eggnog. But he was great, and I love that scene between him and Oma,
Yeah.
the Austrian grandmother, because of course he does remember her.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
He let her survive.
he let her survive, and I
Well, not
had
in
written
this version, in a previous when she was a young kid.
yes, because she'd called him and had her entire town wiped out basically by
Yep.
Krampus. Because what calls Krampus is not just naughtiness, but it's the anger and spite and loss
Yeah.
of hope.
I was gonna say it's the spite that really brings it.
Yeah, and greed and selfishness. And during the war, that was pretty much common for that area.
Oh yeah.
Um and he lets her live, like you said, so someone remembers the lesson there.
Yep.
But all I could think of is when he gives that little eye wink in the shadow and walks away and goes, "Tell your friends about me."
Yep, got to keep the memory. It's kind of like a Freddy Krueger style. Like, I want you to keep that thought in the back of your head because if this happens again, I won't stop with you.
Yeah, and like it was really weird because she didn't lose that faith and hope. She
No,
almost stayed pretty good throughout the whole thing. In
girl was a
fact,
badass.
yeah, she tried to keep the traditions, the family traditions going through the family so they wouldn't suffer the way that she did.
Right.
And unfortunately they did, because the family all has problems. They're one family is crude and rude, and the
Yep.
other family is much kinder but have a lacking of sincerity and faith.
Yeah, and they're all very distant from themselves and like so the brother and the sister and the mom and the dad, they all feel like they're so far apart, whereas the other family comes in and they're so tightly connected. You feel that friction between like, hey, we give each other crap all the time, but yet you guys can't even give each other crap.
Yeah, one's got pros where the other one's got cons, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like how the movie started with like the complete chaos of Christmas and an onslaught. It's like, oh, that's what we're gearing up for this movie. Gotcha.
This is a more realistic take of the Griswolds, is really what it is.
Hey, this is my R-rated Griswold. Honestly, this naughty cut is my R-rated version of Christmas Vacation now.
I'm gonna have to fucking order that now. I'm so pissed I didn't.
Oh, dude, you will be pleased. It's excellent. And it looks beautiful. So for anybody looking for a super quick, like 20-second review from me on the 4K of that, it is gorgeous. If you have your TV and a stereo setup, when Krampus is jumping from roof to roof, kind of towards the beginning of the movie, it's all over the goddamn place. So if you got surround sound, that will kick in with a bass like nothing else.
Cool.
Beautiful, sounds great, looks even better. It's the best that movie has ever or and will ever look. So I highly recommend it for anybody to pick that up. Sorry if it costs a little bit of money. It's like 28 bucks, I think, on Amazon, but it's worth it. And
Yeah,
I
but with
wouldn't recommend $28 or more for a 4K in general, but that is an exception to that rule.
I think I spent $40 on the X-rated version of RoboCop, so that's perfectly okay with me.
Which you
Like,
can now get from like Arrow for like 30 on a super nice Blu-ray or 4K.
yeah, this was DVD like
I
long
bought that same
ago.
thing years ago. I think I still have it somewhere.
With 30 minutes of extra violence put back in.
Criterion version, I believe it was.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Kinney got shot for like 30, 40 extra seconds.
Yeah.
It would
More
anyway.
screaming after the hand got blown off.
Oh God. Anyway, yeah, we can go on about the MPAA for that shit too.
Yeah.
But the characters in this, like we said, none of them are bad people. None of them like each other, which they even talk about. Adam Scott's trying to explain to his son, family is just a group of people that don't really get along except for one day out of the year. They try to pretend that they like each other.
Yep.
And it's like, wow, gosh, how American. It's like right on the fucking nose.
Well, even Adam Scott's character at one point is like, well, we just have to deal with them and through Christmas. And then you could see the math going in his head, and he's like, oh, wait, there's the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th. Oh shit. And he's realizing what I just said about, hey, we just gotta get, oh, forget that. This sucks.
Adam's character Tom really had that attitude. Like every time something would happen, it's like, oh, are you kidding me? Really? Oh, you've got to be shitting me.
Well, I also loved it when it was, some of it was starting to sink in when the power went out, and or before the family showed up, he's drinking a bottle of Talisker, which is a very nice scotch. And I thought that was funny because its logo is like a weathered storm.
Oh, Jesus. Which this was like worse than a Campbell soup commercial. The storm they were in.
So at what point did you start to figure out that they were actually enclosed in their own little bubble, or did you not figure it out till the very end?
I figured something had happened because, like, obviously, like the whole town is gone.
Yeah, except for the DHL driver.
Yeah, I don't know what he did. I bet he was stealing packages, that motherfucker.
He got his.
It's I didn't really get it until the end. Like I knew something was up. I just wasn't sure what.
Right.
And there was really no way to disappoint in that area. Like they could have come up with something completely dumber and I would have enjoyed it. Now, knowing that it was in a snow globe. Thank
Yep.
you. I stutter. I think it would have been funny. Like every so many like minutes, there was an earthquake and the snow got worse or some shit.
See, that's what I kept wondering. After you watch the movie, you almost want to go back and watch for any sort of like little clues, but you never really quite get that until he's like setting the snow globe down, and then you're wondering like maybe there was something. No, there really wasn't anything like that, but you could always have like a post-credit scene where somebody shakes it up and then all of a sudden it's a blizzard again.
Yeah, right. Restarting the whole day all over again.
Yeah, now it becomes Groundhog Day for them, is like, we got to spend, well, this is our purgatory. We got to spend Christmas with each other for the rest of eternity. Oh, shit. Maybe that's what you do for a sequel, is show them like the Groundhog Day version of Krampus.
We've been in here for 3,000 years.
Can we just die already?
Kinda. There is a Disney cartoon like that where it very much ripped off Groundhog Day with Huey, Louie, and Dewey repeating the same Christmas Eve and Christmas morning all over again. So they're like, oh, we get presents every day, but it's the same presents every day.
Yep.
And this took a lot from that, which is just fine.
You can take a lot from a few different movies for this. I mean, this is nothing tragically original. It's just it's a fresh take on a unused concept, because after this movie came out, a lot of Krampus movies started coming out.
Oh yeah, Asylum's like, we got this shit.
Yep.
That's not a word that's copywritten.
We'll make it to where you want it copywritten.
No shit. Now again, I refuse to watch any of those versions. This is pretty much where I'm going to stick with a Christmas horror film like Krampus, or one of the Krampus films, because there's God knows how many at this point, thanks to the Asylum.
Yeah, there's
or studios like them.
Yeah, there's at least several other Krampus movies. I was looking to see like any news on a potential sequel for this, and it kept coming up with Krampus 2, which is a sequel to another Krampus movie that has nothing to do with this one.
Correct.
And I'm like, oh, come on. And just trying to do any sort of digging, all I could find was like news on Trick or Treat sequel is in progress, but like nothing on this. I'm willing to bet a couple more years and the popularity of this one grows, maybe we can have a return to this. But if we never get another sequel, I am super okay with this movie.
Yeah, it's good as a standalone. But
yeah, I think so. It's not needed, but I would like one. Just saying.
Oh, sure. Because it's like you said, there are so many different families and so many different stories that could be told. it's an unlimited resource of good stories.
Yes.
But I think once Trick or Treat 2 is done, then I think we're going to see Krampus 2.
Hey, as long
And
as Universal's willing to put a little money in, but hey, they've been making a little bit of money on this. This did
they,
not exactly fail at the box office. It just didn't
no,
do like what Smile did, was like make like $100 million off of a $18 million budget.
damn. Yeah, there was more money put into this flick.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't even say it's a sleeper movie. It wasn't. It didn't come and go. People did genuinely like it to the
Right.
point where Universal's like, well, put that in our Halloween Horror Nights.
Right.
And that's where you're most likely going to get your Krampus merch is during that time of year.
Right.
Um,
Well, I do have one item kind of on the way to me. I had a little bit of extra money in my PayPal that I forgot about, so I participated in buying a one Krampus item that I saw on eBay. So I'm getting one of those the Krampus bell actually, and it's from
neat.
it's originally put out from the Weta Workshop, WETA, Peter Jackson's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So they did some of the work on this movie too, and I can't wait to get it. It should be here Thursday, but that's okay. When I get it, I'll put a picture up on our Instagram.
We should talk to Eric soon. He just got back from Weta.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hey Eric, if you're watching, I'm gonna ask you about that. Maybe I should have asked you about picking up anything if you were there, but they don't have any on their website now, so don't go run into Weta Workshop to see if they still got this in stock. This stuff's a couple years out of print now, so that's how it goes.
Yeah, but that bell is really awesome. What was it? Iron, so it didn't actually ring and jingle.
Right.
Yeah, and it said greetings from Krampus on there.
Which I think is a great toy. So
Gross von Krampus. He is
Krampus.
truly a dick of a creature, and then they made him playful. Like he enjoys
Yeah.
the cat and mouse routine of his getting his naughty kids.
Right. Just the gifts when they were coming alive and attacking everybody. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting such vibes from like, say, like House in this, like House and House 2, the second story. Like, there's a blend of horror comedy to this movie that is just perfect.
Yeah, I would say like it's been a couple years since I first said this, which was immediately after my first viewing. This is the best creature feature that I've seen since Gremlins. And it's not to say that there's been nothing but bad creature features, but this is just the best one that I've seen. Like with a good story, good characters, like an entirely good cast of characters,
Right.
all clean and scary looking monsters, and it's a fun movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard blend to nail. And that's why some movies don't always land on like whether it's the comedy or the horror. It is a hard balancing act, and you got to have somebody who is basically doing the writing and directing, and hopefully you have an editor that you can work with that knows what you're trying to do with the movie. And so the actual finished product from beginning to end, to come up with a formula like this is not easy. That's why when Gremlins and Tremors and House, they stick out like sore thumbs, because it's really hard to nail that. Even like slasher movies don't really get that blend down perfectly. Some of them want to be more scarier than others. Some of them want to go for the goofy. Season of the Witch versus Halloween 1, the classic. Like polar ends of the spectrum, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But you know, I just want to bring up one thing. I know there's a lot of naysayers that don't feel like the acting is all that great. I think you might be missing the point in the movie if you feel that. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything like that. I do
I am.
disagree. Oh, I completely disagree.
Sorry.
But I think the main complaint is that there's hardly any really truly likable characters in this. And at that point, I see what you're saying. However, you're missing the point of the movie. Nobody's supposed to be likable in this movie. I mean, there
Correct.
are some that you want to like, but by the end, you figure out like, Oh, that's what the movie was trying to do. I think what you're more complaining about with that kind of thing is you didn't get that impression up front that this is the movie you're going to get. So when you got to the end, you were just disappointed that you didn't know what you were getting into.
Yes, and the same thing happened with Psycho Gorman. Uh, that was a much more extreme case than this movie. Like I said, this movie, the people weren't necessarily decent,
Yeah.
but they weren't bad or irredeemable.
No, and like even his letter when he's talking about his mom and dad, I wish they could fall in love again because they're so distant because he's traveling all the time. And I mean that whole letter sequence was tremendous, despite the hilarity at the end of reading the letter when his cousins jacked his letter and were reading it back. But when he's talking about that, and then he's talking about his uncle and aunt and with all the troubles that they've had, he hopes that they do well too. And them looking at him like, well, that's nice. And then the cousins are like, no, he does not want us. No, he does not wish for us to be sons that he never had. And they're like, fuck you. And I just start dying every time. No, he does not wish we were boys.
And all they're doing is like playing football throughout the movie, wrestling,
They're
burping.
acting like, yeah.
Because he did.
Well, they're
He was
tomboys at that point. That's just how it goes. But
yes. Well, he was ungrateful.
yeah,
He was ungrateful to have girls instead of boys,
yeah,
and so I mean he was overcompensating in that regard.
right.
But the girls were a pain in the fucking ass in general. But again, they
Yeah.
were bully boys, like you said, or bully tomboys.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty common. When I was growing up, all the tomboys I knew were a little bit like that. But then you grow out of it. It's just a phase.
Yeah. Um, I, they didn't bother me. I was not sad to see them get swallowed by the Jack in the Box.
That was funny.
Well, I mean, the toys, the creatures, whatever you want to call them, were all so beautifully done in their grotesqueness. They're like perversions of what they're supposed to be, which is something that brings you joy. Whereas these like terrify you and want to kill you.
Which was your favorite?
Uh I want to say the teddy bear was probably the scariest looking one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the teddy bear too, with a close second being the Jack in the Box, because it reminded me a little bit of a full moon movie called Demonic Toys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that.
It just reminded me a little bit of it with a little dash of Kyoto Brothers in it with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And so I was totally digging like what they were doing with the special effects. But I will give special bonus points to the angelic doll with the wings and the
Yeah.
cybernetic robot that was attacking Adam.
You gotta be shitting me.
And they're all just like, what is going on? And then the aunt just totally, or yeah, the aunt just goes completely crazy with the axe, and she's like, that's it, motherfucker, you're all dead, give me my kids back. And when that happened, I'm like, that's what the movie was going for, was those moments you could go, yeah.
Yeah, that's where she becomes a mom again.
you know
But my problem with that is the same problem I have with so many other action flicks. You just stop to say something before killing the bad guy, and the bad guy either gets away before you finished your sentence,
narrowly gets away, yeah.
or has the chance to kick your ass while you're
Yeah.
not shooting. Shoot,
Yeah, there was,
and then say something.
yeah, there was definitely some tropes and cliches in this, but you got to give and take a little bit with that if you're gonna go for this kind of style of movie. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going dead serious with this movie, the I don't know if I would have liked it as much.
No, golly,
So
no,
I need
probably not.
these hokey moments that are in every other movie.
My favorite is probably the whole favorite character is probably Conchetta for Aunt Dorothy. I can't even talk tonight.
Oh, the one from Two and a Half Men.
Yes.
I forget her name as an actress, but I knew that's where she was from. And the first time my wife was like, "Is that the lady from?" And I'm like, Two and a Half Men. She's like, "That's it."
Yeah, it's Conchetta Farrell. And
He was awesome, dude.
she was fucking delightful in this shit, being an alcoholic.
She
Like,
looked right at home, like, oh, I got this role. Just keep the brandy coming.
yeah,
Or the
right.
peppermint schnapps, I'm sorry.
She teaches the kids how to make peppermint schnapps
With a peppermint candy cane, which was even better. And then she's like, okay, you can have a sip, just don't tell nobody.
And that's one of the things that they got shit on by the MPAA too. Like, you can't have a kid taking a little shot out of fucking a hot toddy or whatever.
That's not Christmas.
Whose parents didn't let their kids do that? Like,
To
after
some
they've had
extent,
like
you
three or
know.
four drinks, they're like, yeah, taste it. He's gonna go to sleep.
Or even, hey, you want to taste? It's Christmas. Just don't tell your mother, you know?
Yes, like, I don't know that I'd necessarily let my kids do that, but my kids would probably not fucking ask. They just take the shit. Um, but no, she was great in moments like that, and her honesty when they'd say, Aunt Dorothy watched the kids, and she's like, why? I've never liked kids, even on a good day.
I didn't even like kids and I was a kid. I love that line. That reminds me of our buddy Will, who who does not like kids, but that's okay.
And
It
she
just reminded
fucking
me of him.
racks a shotgun like no other and fucking just starts wailing on these elves until she's like, I'll see you in hell. Fucking fling her
Yeah,
out of
they're
the
yelling
house.
at her like, "Finish it, Aunt Dorothy." She's like, "Gladly." She's like, yeah, like thinking, "This is the best Christmas ever. I'm glad I imposed my will to come on this trip."
Yeah, right. Like, I finally getting to use the shotgun again. All right.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of David in the kitchen with the gingerbread man. And I was gonna ask you, was that one of your favorite scenes? Is when the dog got the last gingerbread man?
That's my wife's favorite scene.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the bulldog.
Yep.
Uh I liked it just because there was just crazy shit. One of them was Seth Green actually doing the
Yes.
voice. And so it's like you can't go wrong with that. And they were animated so extremely well. They were just as
Yes.
funny as like the Ghostbuster minis, the mini Stay Puffs.
I was gonna say Ash versus Evil Dead or Army of Darkness, I mean,
Yes,
with the minis.
yes, and they even sounded a lot like that. In fact,
I
I
think they
would
did that on purpose as an homage.
uh I think they did that for one, and also I think some of those might have been recycled sounds because of course Universal is
Might have been. They
yeah.
you have the access to the Universal vault basically.
Yeah.
And they
And
own the rights to Army of Darkness, so
that's what I was thinking. So it's like just recycling those old Foley sounds or
oh yeah.
screams. Even though it's Bruce, you can't go wrong with that
Hell
at
no.
all.
Oh, speaking of little known cameos, if you saw Derek, the Charlotte's
Boyfriend?
boyfriend, that is Timothy Chalamet, a very, very young, very early, who was Paul Atreides in the new Dune movies and in the Bones and All movie that just came out, the Cannibal in the theater. It's like a love story about cannibals. It's in the theaters right now. It's called Bones and All. He is in this for like about 30 seconds showing off his bong, his Christmas bong.
Let's go back to the cannibalism. You had me thinking there for a moment. Are there Wendigos in that movie?
No.
Damn. Yeah, the Christmas bong was cool.
Yep. But a young Timothy Chalamet. So if you blink, you miss it. You might hear him, but that's him, and that's a young one. And so when you get those young actors who have like excellent careers after this, you can look back at this movie and be like, hey, they gave him a shot before anybody else did. Just saying.
Johnny Depp, Wes Craven.
Yep. Kevin Bacon, Friday the 13th.
That's true. That's
Just
true.
saying. Even though Kevin freaking hates that, but
Wuss. Wuss.
well, his point with Friday the 13th is people would bring him pictures of him dead for him to sign. He didn't have a problem with the movie per se. He just had a problem with how people were bringing him pictures of him dead and stabbed through the throat for him to sign. And he's just like, I don't understand this at all.
Uh I wouldn't look that gift horse in the mouth, dude. Like,
Oh,
be
I
thankful that
know,
people
but
are like,
I think he's
no,
over that now, though.
I should hope.
Well,
Like,
I think that was just a thing when he was trying to like have a legit acting career and he didn't want to be known for anything specifically. That's why he never really did sequels either for a longest time.
maybe it was because of Trimmers. I never saw him as someone that needed to get work or would
Oh
worry
yeah.
about it, because he's to me he was like an instant star when I saw him.
Oh yeah. And at this point in his life, he's just, hey, if it looks good, I'll do it. I mean, he even
Yeah,
tried to do the Tremors show. So unfortunately that didn't work out, but it's all right.
that's another fight for another night.
Yep, not talking about that one entirely. But hey, I,
No, but this Charlemagne, he's the new Willy Wonka too, isn't he?
Chalamet?
Mhm.
I don't know. I haven't heard that yet.
I believe it is, or he is.
He might be. He's dude is getting some excellent roles and some great acting, and they just finished shooting the second Dune movie, so that's going to be out in November. We will see, but I I I didn't even notice it till this time when I'm like, it looks like, and so I looked him up on my phone while the movie was playing. I'm like, holy shit, that's Timothy Chalamet. Wow, dude's gonna win like an Oscar at some point.
Yeah, likely as such. It's always fun when you see the younger generation starting to, like, the cream of the crop starting to rise,
Oh yeah,
and you could tell which one will eventually become the next like Tom Cruise type person, or uh, just anyone that's going to continuously be nominated for awards and whatnot. And
yeah.
I think, yeah, you're right. He's probably one.
He's still young. He's got a ways to go, but he's excellent. So I'm excited for him and his career. Hey, I still watch like half the movies and projects from all these other people, and if it's on, I'll watch Two and a Half Men.
Yeah. I mean, aside from Charlie, that show's really goddamn funny.
Winning.
Not with
Filled
what
with
you
tiger
got.
blood.
Yes, my
No,
blood.
this is a super fun flick, and we're using this as our holiday episode for our 0 Point Review channel. So
Yeah, because like Christmas is nice and all, but monsters are all year round.
absolutely. Now, how many evil candy canes do you want to give this movie, Kevin?
Oh, I'd give this a full 10. I know it's only like
Hmm.
66% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.2 on IMDb, but this is a pretty goddamn perfect film for me. It
We're on the
didn't,
high end of that spectrum, so
yeah, like this didn't need to be graphic. It
no.
was exactly what it wanted to be, and it did exactly what it set out to do. And that's show you a Christmas film that was also a horror film that was also a comedy. And none of it was so cheesy that you had to roll your eyes. You didn't want to get up and go take a pee break. They did a good job, like, grabbing their audience with this movie. So
Absolutely.
I'll give it a 9 or a 10. It's really damn good.
I'll give this a 9 out of 10 too. I don't really have any real complaints other than, a moment here, a moment there. It feels like it's running a little long, but after watching like the naughty cut, I feel like it's very well paced out and done well. Watching the original version just felt like something was always kind of missing. So that's probably why I'm taking it down to like a 9 and it's balancing out to that point. It's just the average between the two. I'd give theatrical an 8. I'd give the naughty cut pretty much a 10. I'm gonna go 9 in the middle because it's damn good, and I will watch this every year.
This is one of those flicks that I could watch year round. Like, very few holiday movies can I watch year round.
Right?
This is one. Gremlins would be one. The Ref could be one.
I need to watch Gremlins again.
Yes, everyone should always watch Gremlins all the time.
Yeah.
And there was another one that I really liked that I can't really. I don't. I lost it. I don't know what the other one was, but
Christmas Vacation or anything like that, or are you
no,
thinking like a
no,
horror movie?
probably a horror movie. But Ernest Saves Christmas and The Muppets Christmas Carol would be the only type of horror Christmas movies that I really like.
Yeah, there's a couple others that I like between like there's the Ref with Dennis Leary. I know not many people dig that one, and Kevin Spacey's in that, so you got that kind of a cloud over that sky. But he he basically plays a self-righteous prick, so it's not much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But I got that. I watched something called Klaus on Netflix, which it's not a horror. It's very family friendly, so it's more on the happier side of the spectrum. But that's an excellent movie. But as far as like Christmas horror, I'm gonna say Krampus. I know they just Silent Night, Deadly Night. I like Evil Santas a little bit, and then there's one called Rare Exports. So if you want something that's a little off the beaten path, that's more of a kind of a Norwegian or European flair kind of style movie where you end up seeing Santa and elves, and it plays a little bit like a horror movie, gets a little goofy towards the end, but it's pretty funny. It's enjoyable. It runs a little long though, but it's pretty good. But I like a good holiday horror movie.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what type of horror movie it is. It's really good, but it is a little bit more special when it's something like this. It makes it a
Yeah.
little naughtier.
Like I enjoy
And
this a little more than I probably should.
yes,
And it's
and
not guilty pleasure style. It's more, no, I actually really like this movie. Maybe a little more than I should.
I've never made any pretense that I'm a nice person. Like some of the jokes in this really get to me where I'm like a little gremlin in the theater going,
Well, it's because you like a little bit more on the darker stuff. And,
yeah,
and everybody's got a different stuff. I mean, this movie won't play well with everybody, but if you're into horror comedy, this is right up your alley.
yeah, yeah. And if you're looking for a regular ass Christmas movie, this is not it.
No. If you want
No.
Christmas Vacation, just go get Christmas Vacation. You will be a happy camper. You want to watch Christmas Story? Have at it. This isn't that.
Yeah, no. And my wife likes flicks like Last Christmas, Christmas with the Cranks, which is a completely annoying flick. Nothing that would make me be like, yeah, let's sit and watch that together. No, like we would sit and watch this together because that's about as far as I can go with compromising Christmas flicks.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep otherwise on purpose.
Yeah, if I want to watch something like, say, like Black Christmas or anything like that, then I'm kind of on my own. This is the middle ground too for me.
Yeah, my favorite Christmas movie is probably Ernest.
Yeah.
Um, just because he has that spirit of Christmas, and that and the Muppets Christmas Carol are like the quintessential Christmas
Muppet
films for me.
Christmas Carol is outstanding. Disney
Yeah,
Plus
like
actually has the original version back up there. They put a song back in that they long took out. So if you want to see it, check it out before they change their mind again.
well, people kept asking, I don't know why they cut that out. Why did they keep it out for so long? I'm like, because you don't have to pay a songwriter for a song that's you're not in
Yeah.
your movie for 30 years.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I thought I heard it was about the license agreement with that, and they just didn't want to pay it. But like I could be wrong. That's just what I've been hearing too, because on one of the other YouTube channels that I like to watch, John Campeo show, Chris Carr talked about how they finally put the song back in, and she was just super happy about that. And so that's got me wanting to watch it, and also seeing if I can track down an older version that still has it. I don't know if it was last on DVD, but it might have been VHS. So Disney, if you guys really want to make some money, get back to your home media, please. Put it out on Blu-ray at the minimum. Just saying.
Ever since you told me what Disney was up to when they started Disney Plus, like I've not been surprised at any lack of fucking physical media that they've not put out. Like
Like they
for
won't
me.
even put the Star Wars stuff out. And if they put Star Wars The Mandalorian out on even just DVD, that's money they're not getting. I'm
That would
just saying.
fly off the shelves.
Because so many people love that. And or just allow your stuff to be licensed out to other companies like Shout Factory, Kino Lorber, Criterion, who just put out Wall-E. Oddly enough, Criterion put out Wall-E for fuck's sake. So if you're gonna give a little bit of, loosening up the purse strings or the contracts and let it happen because there's some Buena Vista titles that are still waiting to get a Blu-ray release. But That's a topic for another time.
Yeah, yeah.
But hey, we got
We
we
could
got
have a
some
whole show
excellent
on physical
editions of,
media.
yeah, we could. We should. But hey, we got Krampus out there. Whether you got the Blu-ray or you want the 4K, there's something for you out there.
Yeah. If you're like me, and I know I am, you guys are gonna love this fucking movie.
Yep. And that's what I'm going to say. And that's going to be the end of 0 Point Reviews, Krampus style. Happy holidays, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at sunsandshadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.